What it do? What it do? What it do?
It do. Good
Do.
evening. Good evening. Good evening. It is another Thursday night, and as we wait for people to join us, we will get acquainted, and this is going to be a conversation. And I think this is going to hit home for me a lot, and I'm hoping women come in because I think we are going to walk away. I might, be in therapy or church for myself tonight because there's so much content we are going to cover. And please make sure as soon as you come in, like, share right now, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed so you can get the notification as soon as we come on, because we are dropping gems the last few weeks. Our audience has been on it. Twins has been throwing the mic, not even dropping it, even throwing it. And I don't do so shabby myself. So come in. Oh, hey, SB! I know SB, you've been hearing my call for women, my women in the chat. Mr. and Mrs. already starting. He says, I don't understand self-destruction, especially when it's someone's nature. Okay, we are already getting to topic.
Silence.
Listen, we're already on it, but before we actually get into it, as usual, I have to ask my co-host here, Twins, how his week has been.
Week has been steady, busy, cool. Not much, nothing crazy.
How's the truck? You stunted on us last week, said Mr. Mister. How's the truck?
Yeah, the truck is still in the shop, still getting worked on.
So you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, okay. Until I get that bill. Hey, don't be surprised in the bottom of the screen. Y'all see a Cash App scroll at the bottom. Because guess what? I am not getting another car note, so that's dead.
Not after you dropped it on us and said, "Oh, when you buy your truck cash," we were like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Anywho, my week has also been good. I've been feeling a little under the weather, but I'm not sure if I'm getting adult allergies. So I've been hearing that you can all of a sudden start getting allergies in your 40s, of which I am in my 40s. So I don't know if it's adult allergies or I'm getting sick, but it's really weird. I just don't know if it's the circulation because I moved to my new place and the air circulating. It's really, really weird. But a girl's got to go because ain't nobody got time to miss work and do anything because we got to work. Nobody wants to work these days. Anywho, sorry, that was my terrible Kardashian impersonation. But so much to talk about tonight. We have two clips that are either going to make people mad or enlighten people or just make people go, because there's some interesting things happening. So I've called this show Saviour Complex, and it should say / could you basically be destroying your own love life? And I think some of the things that we do, including myself, because the second clip we play really hits home for me, and I've kind of got my own personal story about that. But some of the things that we do, men and women, even sometimes when we think it's good, could actually be destroying our love life. And that is what I'm actually going to start with one of these clips. So before I go into that, Mr. and Mr. says, I won big this weekend. What'd you win, Mr. and Mr.? Don't let me find out you're like a professional poker player or won on some numbers. Isn't that what the old people got, the numbers? What'd you win? Because I'm nosy. My daddy says if I don't, thank you. Twin said details. We want no details. You can't come on here and say I won big and then just drop it on us, but you got some things lined up. What you win?
We nosy. We nosy. I'm nosy.
We're waiting. But you don't understand. We're all family now. Listen.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're waiting. Where's it at? I don't see it.
We're cousins. Okay. So we're a group of cousins. And so we got to know. So as we wait for Mr. Mister to let us know, I'm going to play this clip from tonight's conversation. So we're really going to answer the question, could you be destroying your own love life? So let's go.
And I put that on men's chest too. Is that the woman you want, or is that the woman who validates your ego because now you feel like you helping? Big dog, some of y'all just be out here with fucked up women just so you could say you fixed something. Just for you could say you leading something. Just for you could say you built something. Because a woman who got all her own together, you can't come in and have a plan for her. You feel? Nah, hold up. This because what I don't want this to turn into is like y'all feeling this about men. Let me talk to my for a second. Fellas, this idea that you have to have a plan and a way, say that plan and way for a woman who already on her way somewhere, cuz. Y'all be too cool carrying dead weight and justifying it off you being a man. Y'all too cool with women who ain't got for you eating off your plate just because you got a plate to provide. And then you the nigga that's complaining 15, 20 years later about how women don't appreciate this. No, you got with a woman that was never grateful. She was needy. You got with a woman who needed it, and you happen to be my G.
You happen to be.
That don't make you no solid dude. That don't make you no stand up. That make you just like these women we be talking about that don't got no boundaries, fam. You just don't value your wallet enough and don't value your hard work enough to guard it from women who ain't worth it, Brody.
Interesting.
Listen, I know when he said that, it stung a lot of women, because I'm going to go back to something I said last week before I actually asked you your thoughts on this. Remember in a clip I said last week, I said, some of our problem as women is that we talk more than we listen. Remember I said again, we talk more than we listen. That was a prime example of women not listening because they were ready to. And he hadn't even finished his thought, because what he was doing was actually inadvertently shading a lot of us as women. My man said, and I quote, "Save that plan and wait for a woman that's already on her way somewhere." He then said a lot of men complain about women not being grateful, but that woman was never grateful. She was needy. Twins.
There's a lot to unpack on this one, right? Especially with the last thing you just said. That I guess how you say that again? That
he said that men be complaining that these women were not grateful, but they were never grateful. They were just needy. She was never grateful. She was needy.
Right. So it's like that. That's the hard part there. Like, how do you know at what point? Like, because he said years later, right? How do you know that she was a needy one, or she? You know what I'm saying? Oh, go ahead.
You know, because of what he said like 30 seconds before that. He said, "Save that plan and way for a woman that's already on her way." Right? Go ahead.
I get that. But see, they could be on the way when you first get together, right? We're both on our way as we get to know each other. You go one direction, I'm going another direction. And somehow we come together as one, right? We crash course to each other. And then later on, somebody jumps off the exit too soon. I don't know, right? But it is weird because you don't know how someone's going to change over time when it comes to a long-term relationship like that. So that one is like a can't think of the word to say, but that one's kind of hard to really speak on, because I'm like, I hear what he's saying. We chose the right one, but then people show up ready, but laying down the line, you kind of get off track. Go ahead.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay, I am queen of the Savior complex. Queen. Up until recently, where I gave up my place on the throne, because I did not want to do that anymore, because I was ruining my own love life. And so even though he was talking to the ninjas, as he said, that one hit me. And it hit me because often I think what happens in your scenario is you may come in with a plan. That woman likes your plan, goes along with your plan, but I'm not sure if she ever had a plan that if you weren't there, she would have been able to follow. See what I'm saying? I know that that's what I experienced in my last situation. I had a manual. I had a step-by-step manual of how I saw my life, how I saw that man in my life, and how things were going to be. And that wasn't on him because there was him and there were a couple more before him that I came in with a full-fledged, because that's what I do. I plan, I consult, I business develop, I see you, I see the diamond in the rough. I'm like, yep, I take a look at your qualities, my qualities, put them together, and it's like an algorithm just spitting things out of what we can be. And I come up with that plan, and my men think it's a good plan. And so they follow the plan. But then after, I'm mad because I'm depleted, because I'm doing so much. And I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing, because as your woman, I'm supposed to be there and I'm supposed to support you. I'm supposed to do that. I think if we translate it to men, those men he's talking to, and listen, that's not every man, but those men he's talking to think that they can fix their woman's issues through money, right? Because he's talking about that financial component. So I come in, and she's great and she's amazing and I can fix her. I have been guilty of thinking I can fix him. He's got all of these different things. And I remember saying, especially my last relationship, I was like, if you only saw yourself the way that I see you, and I saw him and I saw his trajectory and he followed my plan and it was great until I was no longer there. And the plan blew up and then I was exhausted. So I got up and left because I was tired, because I was giving so much that at the end of it, I was depleted. So that person, man or woman, starts to be resentful. So when he says at the end of that, the man is upset and he's talking to his homeboys and he's talking all of that, that woman was never grateful. She was needy. That man was never grateful. He needed you to come into his life and bring order. And you did that, but now you're tired because you weren't getting what you wanted out of the relationship. And for me, it was like, I can't blame the other person because I did it to myself. So that's kind of my long explanation. So given what I've just said, thoughts?
How would you keep somebody on track of the plan?
I will say for me personally, in my own experience, and I just think generally, men and women who share similar traits to me, it's because of the fact that, like, again, you're such a planner, you're the one executing the plan a lot of the times, right? Like, I will talk about it in situations where I've been, right? And this is more than one. I came in and I would take a look at a man's credentials. We would talk about the job he was in or the career that we was in, where he wanted to go. And I'd be like, okay, I got you. I will redo your resume. Let me take the skills you've had. Let me sit down and redo your resume. Okay, the resume is now done. Where do you want to go with it? Let's create a plan. What position do you want? What company do you want to work for? I start researching. I start seeing if there are roles in these organizations. I just start doing all of these things. And of course you're okay with it. Here someone comes in and they're doing for you. It's like the opposite for men. If you want to come in and just financially support me, sure. The same way you always say, twins, you know what? When women ask, well, why did you do this to me? Or why did he do this to me? You always say, men do what we allow them to do.
Correct.
Women do what you allow us to do. So if you want to come and play Captain Save-A, guess what? The who is going to let you save her. Because why wouldn't she?
Message. Got it. Noted.
But the other part is, there was I think we had a conversation where just like, when you think about the person that you bring into your life, it's like they also need to be making you better. They need to be pouring into you. They need to be contributing. And contribution, just for the ladies, doesn't mean that we are going 50-50, right? People hear the word contribution, but as women, we bring our own level of contribution in a relationship that a man needs, wants, or desire. And I'm just going to simplify it. Is that person fulfilling your needs, wants, and desires? You're doing it to them, but are they doing it to you? And in my scenarios, I was always doing it to them, and I have proof, recorded proof, in my previous relationship that that's what I did. If you would ask me the same question, I would have said no. But I think in my own way, it's how I felt needed, wanted, and desired. I just had a moment. That is sometimes what happens to people like who he's describing. We want to feel need, wanted, and desired. And so we go in and we take a role in someone's life that fulfills their needs, wants, and desires while ignoring those of our own. Let me let that one sink in for myself. Royce Monroe is saying, I'm assuming he's saying, I'm not a shoulder to cry on for irresponsibility. However, I am if you fell short of a goal. Okay, let me reread that. I'm not a shoulder to cry on for irresponsibility. However, I am if you fall short on a goal. Mr. is saying, sounds like blended roles. Started off right being a helpmate, but then it went left when you started becoming the manager / leader. That man should have taken the initiative to take the ball and run. Initiative. That's a really good word. Let's stick with that word for a second. I think that would be the part, twins, going back to where you said, like, when do you start realizing, because it starts off good, and when do you start realizing that things basically are not on track? I think it comes to that word initiative. Are they taking initiative in the things that are happening and in the path that you're on? How, and if they are, how much initiative do they need? Because initiative isn't someone telling you to do something and you execute. That's following directions. Well, I think most people babies follow direction. We have children. Our children follow direction. Tell them to do something and they do it. But when they come to you with their own ideas, with their own plan of executing that idea, with all of those things, that's taking initiative. When they see a problem and they present a solution, that's initiative. But again, just thinking about, I'm like I told you, this won't be a therapy session for myself. I had such a desire unknowingly to be need, wanted, and desired that I got with men that I knew needed, wanted, and desired me. Especially the need part. Because that fulfilled whatever it is that I was missing, it fulfilled what I needed to be fulfilled. And it's the same with that man that comes in with his money and plays Captain Save-A. But then he is mad. He's mad. Because he then goes, what the hell? It's funny, there's a thing actually I saw was yesterday or this morning of a woman jokingly at dinner with her boyfriend and was like, my boyfriend's bank account before I came in his life, and it was like 6 figures. Actually, it was more than that. It was like a ridiculous amount of money. And then as it kept going, the man's bank account was depleting. And I remember saying, and I wish I had actually put it on here. I remember saying, I don't know why women find these memes or whatever they're supposed to be so funny. Because there's nothing funny about presenting yourself as a leech in your man's life. Because leeches hold on to you. That's what a leech literally does. It sticks to you and sucks you dry.
Okay.
But women do this. Go, girl. You should saw the comments. Yeah, girl, that's so funny. You know. And I'm just thinking, I don't have time today, so I'm not going to comment on how ridiculous that is because we applaud leech behavior. Go on, twins.
No, you cleaned it up because when you said the leech part, I was like, so no, you cleaned it up. I have nothing to add to that.
Right? And so we have to think on both sides. If we are the leech, and that leech can be clear, that leech can be men or women, because I've had a few leeches in mind, right? Someone just, you get you, but the issue is, for some of us, we like that kind of love. For whatever reason, we default. I am so guilty of it. I default to a love for a man that needs me, because if you don't need me, why am I here? There was for a long time, I felt a man had to need me for me to understand my place in his life. Because if you don't need me, if you're self-sufficient, you have all of the adulting life skills that ones need to cook, clean, you take care of yourself, you do all the things. And as much as I desired those men, and I still dated men who made it, there was a deficiency in them that I was like, yep, I found it. This is great. I'm going to stick myself right in there because he needs me. And that wasn't anything he did. That was not on him. That was entirely on me. Because if you don't need me, why am I here? There are some men, and the men he was speaking about in that clip, that's those men. If she doesn't need me, why am I here? If she has her own plan and her own goals, and she's already taking steps to do so, and she's this and she's that, why would she need me? And I can't lie, if I think about it, that's a little bit of what I struggle with in my current relationship. He doesn't need me. My current boyfriend is hella sufficient. The man can cook his ass off. He can clean his house. He booked his own flight to come see me. Do you understand? I know it's something small, but do you understand? Like, I used to book my ex's flights. I used to fold his clothes. My daughter even made a comment about something about me talking about my boyfriend. I was like, for my birthday, he's choosing the restaurant and looking at the dress code. And, we're talking about like, kind of matching our outfits. And she made a comment about my ex. She's like, yeah, you guys used to match because you used to pick out his clothes and iron them. Of course you matched. Like, you picked out his clothes and you ironed him. So of course you guys were matching when you go outside because you did it. And I was just like, the shade. Thank you. But there was this, I wanted to be needed, and I needed to be needed. And I struggle now. And I think that's where, again, that hit home for me. I struggle now being in a relationship with a man who doesn't need me. So as I, again, take a moment in my therapy class, I'm going to read what Mr. has to say. He said, leeches are parasites, and parasites offer nothing to the host. That is facts. Their sole purpose is to find a good host and live off them, i.e. leeches sucking out all the blood from the host. We're going to hold, and that's exactly what he was saying in that. That's where the complaint comes about. That's where it's after years. Imagine years of being sucked dry, sucked dry, sucked dry. Again, that man who is watching his bank account deplete, and he's got this woman who, again, he was there to save. He thought that they were going to do something, and he's watching not an increase, just decrease. And his life is just in, because she sucked everything out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And women have done that. We've gotten with men, and they suck everything out of us. And then often what happens, instead of doing what I'm doing, which I'm going to tell you is, I know we talk about that word accountability, it's not sexy. Being accountable is not sexy. Let's just be clear. Because accountability makes you have to be real.
Yeah. I think accountability is something that on both sides, men and women, is that, you know, as an adult, you don't want to be told what to do, right? Or held accountable, right? Same word, but yeah. But it's something we all need. I mean, if we're in a relationship together and we want to be successful and we want to be long term with it, we gotta keep each other accountable throughout the whole process for it to work. And of course, have that key foundation, communication, that we keep talking about.
That part. Mr. Mistress says, oh Jesus, he says, these I am the table ass heifers are the definition of parasites, i.e. leeches. I'm actually pausing to see if anybody else has anything to say about that. I am going to move on. He also says, no man is attracted to a woman who presents herself as a permanent financial burden. Ooh, we have a sort of new person in the chat. Hi, Jeff Short. We haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining us tonight. Clearly, I knew this was going to be a good conversation. So Jeff Short says, why do you feel like it's a struggle simply because the man you have now seems to know his worth? Why don't you feel at peace as you should? Sounds like you have a winner. Jeff, I absolutely have a winner. That is not a question. And thank you. And I think, again, Jeff, I'm actually just coming to these realizations in this conversation. I think when I saw that clip, I had to digest it. Like, I had to digest it, and I started like deconstructing my own issue with that Savior complex, which is why I decided to title this show Savior Complex, because, you know, I talk about in my book, No Handouts for Black Girls. Please go on Amazon, Google Toshiba Building, and get No Handouts for Black Girl. That is actually my 7th book. You can also feel free, if you want Sexy Time, to get the Sienna series 1, number 1 through 6. I got 6 of those, but do get No Handouts for Black Girls. And I talk a little bit about that, of, you know, not realizing how much I was repelling men with this Savior complex for the men who did not need to be saved. The men that needed to be saved, come on in. Come on, girl. And I'm in, and let's be serious, that was an unhealthy approach to relationships. And, you know, I stepped back from dating after my last relationship for a while because I had to untangle some things. And I remember one of my girlfriends asked me, and she looked at me and she said, would you have gotten in that last relationship if you were your best self? Because it happened during COVID. I had gotten downsized from my job. I was, you know, reviving my consulting business. There was just a lot of things, Mike. It's just, you know, COVID was tough for all of us, mentally, emotionally, financially, so many places. And when she asked me that question, I immediately said yes. And then I stopped and I took it back and I was like, I wouldn't have gotten in this relationship if I was my best self. But it wasn't that I was my worst self, but I needed to be needed at that time. I needed to be needed.
Did you make that? Did you make that vocal to your partner at that time that you needed that?
If I'm honest, friends, I didn't even realize how much I needed it. If I was completely honest, if I paint the picture of, that period, it was like, in the beginning of the year, I got downsized from my job. And then I said, okay, cool, that's fine. I got this. I was doing consulting anyways. Let me make this a full time. So I literally let's just say I got downsized on a Tuesday. By Thursday, I was working and reaching out to new clients. Hey, you know what? I'm going to do this consulting thing full time. I started just going after it. It didn't even take me a second. Like I took a day. I took a day. I started building a website. I got business cards again. Like I just really started reaching out to people. Then COVID started happening. And then the world shut down. I was leaving a meeting when they said that they were shutting down all of Toronto. So then I said, okay, nobody wants to pay a consultant $125, $150 an hour. Guess what? I'm going to write books. This was the middle of March. I published my first book on April 1st. This happened March 17th. I said, okay, I was in the middle of writing a book. What am I going to do? I'm going to turn it into a 6-part series. I had enough to publish one book. And so I published a book every month for 6 months. Oh, wow. In the midst of writing those books, I started writing another book. I needed to do something. I couldn't sit around. I have a problem. I couldn't sit around. So I said, okay, I'm going to write a 6-part series. I published one April to October. In the middle of that, I wrote another book. I wrote 7 books in 363 days. Got into a relationship, got together, moved to be with him in 96 days. There was part of me that I couldn't stop. I just needed to go. And I didn't realize my need to have somebody need me because I was doing so much and I didn't have time to sit and think about the implications of what was happening in my life. My father also got COVID, had a stroke. All of these things happened and I just was like, yeah, gotta go. My father got dementia, doesn't matter, he's gonna be fine. Like I was just doing, and I needed somebody to need me because if I stopped to think about everything that was happened, I think I would have been broken.
That makes sense.
I don't need therapy, I got y'all. I've never admitted all of that out loud.
But you just did.
Today. Okay. SB says, carrying dead weight will kill you inside.
That slowly kill too. It's slowly draining you away.
The leech. Remember, because that's what leeches do. They don't just come and just, it's a slow pull and a slow pull and a slow pull. And at first, as a woman, we're like, oh, we're losing weight.
Who needs a little pin when you gotta leave?
We over here losing weight. And then you go, oh no, sis, like that's not it. Jeff Short says, I totally understand what you're saying, and I'm glad you're being transparent about it because a lot of women need to hear this particular talking point about needing to be needed. Thank you, Jeff. And I agree. So again, please like, share, subscribe, send this to your mama, your father, your sister, your pastor, the deacon, your employer, the people at the barbershop, whoever, because we are talking some real stuff on this show. But like I said, therapy is like $140 an hour. Your girl's got other things to do. Mr. and Mrs. said, COVID was great for me. I was never quarantined. I was disturbing all the I was distributing all the toilet paper, hand sanitizer, medical gloves, and masks, etc. Here's the thing. COVID was a great time for you and me. You know what I say to people? I kicked COVID's ass. That's what I always say. I just told you, I published 7 books in 363 days. You couldn't tell me nothing. But in the midst of that, I got myself in a situation just because I needed to be needed. And that wasn't fair to him. Because when I decided to leave, I got up and I left. Because I realized I wasn't getting what I needed. Ooh, where's my mic? I don't have my mic. It's on the other side. SV says, yes, sometimes we stop our healthy blessings unknowingly. I'm guilty of that. We all have that urgent to be needed, that urge to be needed and wanted. And so as I sit here talking to you all, I am, Jeff, to your point. I know how lucky and blessed I am. And I said it last week, I'm in the healthiest relationship that I've been in a very long time. But admittedly, I'm struggling with him not needing me. And having conversations with my girlfriends, and I tell them about, yeah, he's done this, and I was like, I didn't actually have to do anything. Like I know it sounds petty, but he like booked his own flight. I know, like, I was happy he did it, but part of me was like, oh, he didn't need me to do that. I didn't need me to like, oh, you're gonna book the restaurant. You don't even live in the country, sir. He was like, send me the restaurants that you want to go to. I'll take care of everything. I was like, I was almost like, do you know? It was almost insulting. I was like, do you know what to do? Like, you know, you have to like, and he was like, stop. But if he were to be watching the show, babe, I guess I'm having a moment. If you are watching the show, he doesn't really watch that much. But if you are watching the show, like, this is me having a real moment of like, I think that's why I'm in the space of, holy crap, he doesn't need me. So what does he want from me? And here's the thing. I know I'm a great woman. I don't doubt. And there is no part of me that has self-esteem issues. I don't have self-esteem issues. I understand the qualities that I bring. I understand what I'm capable of. I've just told you some of the things I've accomplished in my life. I'm writing another 6-part series with by the end of 2026, I will have a total of probably 16 books that I publish. Like, that's my goal. Thank you. And it takes a lot of creativity to be able to do that and to do the shows that we do and to still have a full-time job. And I recognize all of that, but I struggle with not somebody needing me, which is weird. And I have to deal with that and figure what that is. But just to get to that point, that was the point of the clip. This was us just breaking it down. And so, ladies and gentlemen who are in that place, who feel like they need to have a savior complex, start figuring out if it's what I just uncovered and untangled for myself. And if that's not it, what is it? Because it's not for the other person to change themselves. It's for you to change who you are and how you approach relationships. I'm gonna drop the mic on that one. We have another clip. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, twins, before I, drop the mic and keep going.
I just want to say you're on fire for this first segment. I don't got much to add to it, and I apologize, but you got this one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. I love this. Before I go to the other clip, because this one is interesting as well. So Mr. said, it's your job to find out what he wants from you. Men in general want a lot of the same things, but different men want different things. Find out what he wants from you. And that's, Mr. Great way to actually wrap it up. That's what I've been doing. Without specifically asking him, I've been observing and filling a role. And, we're fortunate that communication has the true basis of our relationship, and we're very expressive, and we tackle really tough conversations. And through those conversations, I'm seeing the role I play, but it's not him. It's entirely me. Because being wanted, ladies, is very different than being needed. It's a very healthy love when a man wants you. It's very healthy. It's not the same when he just needs you. Because eventually, either he will no longer need you, or what I said earlier, you leave because he's not giving you what you need. So moving on to this other clip. And what this woman says, this is also from tonight's conversation. What she said, I know it's going to piss a lot of women off. And I'm going to talk about my own personal experience about what this woman is talking about. But I just called this clip Cover Up. And here we go.
Is it insecure of a man not to like or want you to dress sexy in order for you to be his wife?
What's sexy?
What I got on, like what I got on right now.
Oh, let me, I gotta get a good look at you. Let me see, where your shirt at? Kitty, what do you think?
I think that sometimes some of y'all women really don't understand how territorial men are. It's different if you were covered up, but baby, you got tape on. So yes, of course, a man who knows how men are going to look at you, knowing that there's going to be men who are going to be predators or are going to pursue you, he's right for saying that. That's not meaning that he's insecure. He's territorial. That's a man's nature, and that's absolutely okay. It's your responsibility as his woman to understand his nature and to also have boundaries with yourself, knowing what you are exposing yourself to. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be quick. I'm so glad I can have conversations with my husband because I asked him, we had a deep conversation. I said, what is it about women that will make you not wife her? And the first thing he said, the way she presents herself. That's coming from a man. Men will tell you that if you dress provocative, they're going to see you as an object. Stop calling men insecure. That is their God-given right to say, I don't want my woman to present herself out here because not only is she a representation of me, she's a representation of herself.
A lot of great gems was dropped in that segment. I love it. And I love the fact that it was a woman who broke it down to him. Because sometimes when men have these same talking points, we get shamed. You know what I'm saying? It's the way I dress. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with you? I'm grown. All that other blah, 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 blah. But she said it the same way that we would have said it. Go ahead.
I'm gonna read what Mr. says first, and then I'm gonna take a moment and respond. Mr. says, I'm looking at her like, why are you standing up there asking stupid questions? You ain't got no shirt on. Here's the thing. I think that woman that asked the question was the perfect woman to ask the question. It was the perfect woman. That couldn't have been set up. Like it was almost like it was a setup. Like she set her own damn self up. You are standing there. As much as she felt that she was covered, she did have tape over her neck. She had no bra on. She had to have tape keeping that on. Go ahead.
And I also wanted to say, I promise you, she's a very attractive woman. Sexy
Gorgeous.
body, very
Gorgeous.
cute and all that. She has a boyfriend. If not a boyfriend, someone she's dealing with. And I promise you, they got into the argument before she got to that location. That's where that conversation came from.
Here's the thing. You actually set up my point for me. She likely has a boyfriend. She doesn't have a husband.
Ooh, message.
Now, ladies, because I'm gonna tell you, I am the queen of sexy dressing. I have no problems with it, and I am blessed and well endowed in several different areas. A lot of the times what happens is we have boyfriends. We do. We get boyfriends. A lot of us don't get husbands. And we stay being girlfriends because when the boyfriend, who could potentially be our husband, expresses what he wants, needs, and desires, and it has anything to do with how we present ourselves, we label that man as controlling. We label him as insecure. We label him as jealous. And we say exactly what Twin said. This is who I am. This is how I like to dress. If you don't, right? Now, what happens is that man will continue to be your boyfriend because he's getting for that moment his needs, wants, and desires met. But he's never going to make you his wife. No matter how beautiful the face is, the body is, you could be the greatest woman in your mind. You just told that man, I am not willing to listen and make the effort that is needed to present myself in a manner that I'm presentable to be your wife. What you say to me really doesn't matter because I'm going to be who I want to be. And hold on to it just before you say, ladies, you know, marriage is a team sport. It is not an individual game. Twins.
Message. What I wanted to add to what you were saying is that she also broke it down to why that your man or boyfriend or whoever you're dealing with at the time don't want you to wear those type of outfits, right? Now, sometimes, most cases, I mean, that outfit is a no-go. So I say this, and sometimes we, as men, most men, not all men, but some men, most men, whatever, we like our ladies to dress sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And they are with us. Let me say that again. I don't mind you dressing sexy when you with your man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know how men think. We are men. We know there's predators out there. Guys do all type of crazy stuff. And, you don't want to draw the wrong attention to yourself, right? But I can't protect you if you out here doing what you want to do, not listening. Like it's not about controlling, but we are in a relationship. There has to be some type of hierarchy there, and I got to be. If I'm the lead, right, and you're following me, you gotta follow my lead. If I say, babe, don't wear that, you should be like, you know what? You're okay, babe, no problem. Now you can ask why I can't wear it. Cool, but your first response can't be, I'm wearing it. I don't care what you say. You're insecure. No, like stop doing that. We know how men think, and I think, ladies, y'all understand how men think out here. We might need to have a conversation about how men really be thinking. I don't think y'all ready for that conversation.
No, we're going to have that conversation. We're about to have it after I read this comment. Mr. Mrs. says, I agree with what she said to her. I would also add, men are expected to protect that. And by her not wearing clothes in public puts him in danger because he's expected to fight off the wolves. And then Royce Monroe adds, emotional damage if she's still seeking attention. Shit, he might have just dropped the mic on that one.
Well, shoot. Even, you know what? Here's another thing, too. With the lady asking that question, right? Because I'm sure her boyfriend or whoever she had a conversation. He said, don't wear it. She didn't want to listen, right? Then she go to the place, ask the same dumbass question in front of everybody with her boobs hanging out, and they said, hell no, right? Now she don't go back home like, yeah, babe, I asked them the question. They said no. I'm gonna be, as the man, I'm gonna be pissed because now you didn't trust my word, my judgment that I have. I have the best for you. And what I said, it took 3 out of 4 people to validate what I'm saying for you to be like, okay, babe, you're right. And most time, we don't know. Women don't really apologize. So you ain't going to say, my bad, babe, you was right. I'm sorry. Of course not. I'll land my plane.
I actually paused to let the people digest that. That was a key point before I go back and circle back.
Yeah.
It took other people to tell you you're wrong instead of you just listening to the man who's taken on the job of your protector and provider.
Well, preach.
Women, ladies, we are sabotaging ourselves. I'm going to repeat that. That woman got up, left her house, came to the show, stood up, had hundreds. I've been to the Tonight's Conversation in Toronto. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people in those rooms, depending on how big the venue is. She stood up there with her titi dem outador, as Jamaicans would say, with her written question, because she got mad and wrote that bad boy down. She recited it. She had to have a woman preach to her. A man said, girl, your boobs is out. People going, what the hell? Then she went home to her protector and provider and said, babe, you were right. Not because she trusted him, because she trusted in others. We got to think about that. I should not be going to my girls or to the internet or to wherever else to go validate something that my protector and provider has said to me. Now, if my goal is to continue to be a girlfriend, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
Shoot, in that scenario, if she was a girlfriend, she might be dropped down with girl with benefits.
No,
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around with XYZ, but yeah.
not perspective, but I really want, ladies, I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to those of you who are marriage minded. Okay? You want to be a wife or a girlfriend? If you want to continue to be a girlfriend, do whatever the hell you want. Dress how you want, say what you want, go out when you want. Because realistically, there are women who say, well, I'm single till I'm married. Okay, so you single girl, live your single life. Don't ever consult your man on anything. When he says something, don't worry about it. He'll stick around. He's getting his needs, wants, and desires. Now I'm talking to you ladies who want to be a wife. I said it earlier. Marriage is a team sport. It is not an individual race. Sometimes it's a relay. And a relay is a team sport. You hand off the baton, things happen. Let me tell you something. In any relationship, my man says, don't wear that. I ain't wearing it. I ain't going to question you why. You said it. That's it. I'm not going to wear it. Because I have put you in a position to protect me. This is you protecting me. So why am I going to question how you protect me over clothing? I'm not going to argue with my man about what I wear over clothing, because if I want to be in an individual space, I will stay my black ass single when I can do whatever I want. I desire to be a wife again. I know the beauty of being a wife. And so if I'm in a relationship and my man has expressed to me that, babe, to your point, because I've had a very similar conversation in my relationship, babe, I love how you look. I'm not trying to dim your light, but I would appreciate that some of the stuff you reserve for when we are going out together. That was basically our conversation. Not that you never wear it. You just reserve some of these for when we go out together, because as basically your protector, I can't protect you when I'm not with you. And even when we're going out together, like, some of the stuff just may not be appropriate. Here's the thing. Women, we have to decide if we want men who want us to elevate to our higher selves, or we just want to be with men who are just here for the moment. That is a man who wants you to elevate to your higher self. That man that she's with sees exactly what you said. She's a beautiful, gorgeous, and she probably has a lot going for her. He's basically saying, babe, I want you to elevate to your higher self. And right now, the way you're presenting yourself doesn't scream higher self. Not saying you don't get to be you, but I'd rather you just be that you when I'm there, because I got you. Twins.
Nah, nothing to add. I mean, only thing I would like to add is this. So, ladies, when you do wear those outfits, and even when you're with your man, right? Still try to be a little bit reserved, right? Because just because I'm with you doesn't mean you still gonna walk around with your ass and titties out. Like, come on now. And it's like, at the same time, do you really care about me? If I have to question how you're dressing, right? Because as men, we're protected by default. But But if we're walking somewhere, and let's say we went to the club or somewhere, walking by, and a dude smacks your ass and turn around, it's a group of them. Like, I'm going to have to swing. I know I'm going to get jumped, but I'm going to swing. But the thing is this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you put me in this predicament because why your ass out? And who you getting dressed for, right? What are you doing for? Number one, because of me, because I go to the gym. But if I ask you, see, I got a whole nother route. I ask you at home wear a certain outfit, you don't want to do it, but you go on the street, you want to dress half naked. Make it make sense. I'm done.
You know, and this is why I actually had to go back to Royce Monroe's comment and then put it back on the screen. Royce Monroe just dropped the mic on that one. You said again, he said emotional damage if she's still seeking attention. Because that's what you start questioning. So who you getting dressed for at this point? Because I'm telling you, babe, I don't like it. This ain't for me. I think you are beautiful in this or this shape or this form and so forth. And she's like, oh no, I'm gonna do me. Who are you trying to get? Is it other men? Is it other women? Like, what is it? Because if the man you're with, again, your protector, your provider, your nurturer, your lover, all of these things is saying, I see you in your glory and this, and you're just like, no, that's not enough. You got to ask yourself that question. We got some great comments. Thank you, Jeff Shore. He said, y'all are cooking tonight. Let me actually put that up so people see. He has fire emojis and everything. Let's see. We're cooking tonight. Again, remember, like, share, subscribe, send this show to everybody. The clips will be out on Saturday. Make sure you share those and comment because we really are here trying to change the conversation around back relationships. Mr. said, like I said, there are 4 things that will get a woman demoted or disqualified if in a man's eyes. Bad attitude is one of them. And Twins just demoted her from girlfriend to friends with benefits. Jeff Short says, a lot of times women know that they are dressed inappropriate, but will still put on something crazy to test him to see if he'll let it slide. Then they'll try to say, I'm a be with you. Repeat that one for me, Jeff Shore, because I probably got that right. And then Royce Monroe again says emotional damage, 100% Twins. But I don't even want to go back to Jeff Shore's comment. Ladies, are we really with him? Are you really with him if he can't give you guidance? Isn't that what a real leader does? He guides you. Part of leadership is guidance. That's why in high school, I know in American high schools, but in Canadian high schools, we have something called guidance counselors, right? And that's perfect. And you generally have guidance counselors in high school, right? And the guidance counselors are generally the people that you would go to if you're, say, in the 10th or 11th grade before you apply to universities, because you're trying to figure out what direction you're going to take in your life. I'm about to graduate or soon to graduate. I'm going to take my SATs. And they help you, right? They guide you along. That's what leaders do. When men are leaders in relationship, their role is to guide. They guide us. So again, why would our 17-year-old self, ladies, go to guidance counselors to help guide our life? But the man you've entrusted with your body, mind, and soul, he can't guide you. Why are you letting a man sweat on top of you if he can't guide you? Why are you letting him sweat behind you if he can't guide you? I really want us, like, again, these tonight's conversation has hit a lot of buttons for me. And, you know, Twins and I were talking today in our chat, and he said the word growth. And thank you, twin. Like, you don't even know, like, when I was reading that, how much that meant for me, because I've taken the last year and a bit to grow. And I'm on a growth journey because I've had to, again, step back to see, where did I make the missteps in my life so that I missed the mark on where I wanted to be in a relationship, right? And so I've had to take a step back to be able to grow. And ladies, that's okay, right? It is okay to take a step back and reflect on the things that we need to change, and go back and think about all of our missed opportunities, all of those missed opportunities to be a wife. And again, I'm only talking to ladies who desire to be a wife. Again, if you want to be a girlfriend, do you, girl. Want to be a side chick, I ain't got nothing for you. But if you want to be a wife, we need to do some work. There is a lot of work that needs to be done. So Royce Monroe says, great point, Toshiba, 100% valid. I approve the message about guidance counselors on both ends, to add. And SB said, well said, Toshiba, preach. Thank you, girl. You need to come every week and bring your girlfriends, because I'm usually surrounded by these men. So I'm glad there's a woman on here that's appreciating the message. Thank you, SB. And I appreciate you all, men. Keep coming back. We love you. Jeff Short said, meaning what she has on is deemed inappropriate, but I'm wearing this because we're going out as a couple. Like Twin said, we have to protect her from the wolves. Thank you, Jeff Shorts, for the clarification. And SB said, agreed, twins. Who is it for? Question mark, me or them? Relationships take a lot of reflection. And the word before that is self-reflection. I think oftentimes we reflect back and we find faults in the person that's no longer with us. I could sit here and that whole first half of the show, I could have put the blame on the person who's no longer with me. And I hope that's not what I conveyed, right? I had to take accountability for my role in how my relationship started and ended. Because that's the part, everyone, before we wrap up and go to our dating advice, dating tip. For those of you, if anybody has any dating tips that they would like to give, you can either come in and join us. We have the link to join in the comment section. It's at the top. You just click if you want to come and give a dating tip. We're going to stay on probably for another 10 minutes or so. Or as Mr. normally does, feel free to add your dating tip in the comment section and I will read it. But just going back to what I was saying before I read the rest of these comments is, oftentimes when we are reflecting, we reflect on the end of something and not how something started. When something ends, you're like, oh, it ended, and you think about what, but you ever stop and go, how did this start in the first place? Why did I get myself in the situation? And we often don't self-reflect on the start, especially when it's good. Because does most relationships start out bad? No, they start out good. That's why you get in a relationship, right? So everything's rosy and everything's great. And I had to self-reflect when my girlfriend asked me that question, would your best self had been with this person? I had to go back to the beginning, not the end, and figure out how this started in the first place. So you know what? I'm actually gonna leave the rest of that, what I'm about to say, probably for my dating advice. I'm gonna read this comment. Thank you, Royce Monroe. Royce Monroe says, Toshiba and twins are on one tonight. We love it. Again, like, share, subscribe, set your notifications. Now, I'm going to give it a minute for anyone who may want to join us live. If you do, you just click. You do not have to come on camera. That's fine. I know we come out camera ready every week, but you do not have to be on camera. And you know what I'm saying? Like, brush your shoulders off. But if you would like to give either a dating tip, if you have a relationship question, anything like that, please click on the link to join, and you will go backstage and I will just bring you in. So I'll give you some time to think about that. But dating tip. Actually, let's wrap up the show. I'm actually going to wrap it up before the dating tip. And this is what I will say to everyone, men and women. And again, this show, and I'm going to say it over again, is for marriage-minded people. It is for people who are looking to change the trajectory of their dating life, who are taking accountability for good, bad, and indifference in their life, because we all need to do that. And if you are a marriage-minded person, again, I encourage you to come and join the conversation. We're not always going to be right. We don't mind being challenged. We want to hear differing opinions. But the mindset of those who are, again, marriage-minded, Twins and I have both been married. We are now both divorced. And we're looking for our future, spouses one day will come along. Please, Jesus, hallelujah. And we want to make sure that we are prepared, and we prepare all of you. So, I see some dating tips that are coming in. I love our subscribers. Oh, and someone is here to join the conversation. Jeff. Nice. Hold on. Let me bring Jeff in. Hold on, Jeff. Why can't I get you on the stage? Jeff, can you click again? For some reason, I cannot add you to the stage. Let me see if I can bring you in. Jeff, can you go back out and come back in for whatever? Oh, there we go. Now we're good. Add you to the stage. There we go. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome.
Welcome. How y'all doing?
We are good. How are you?
Good. I'm just enjoying the show tonight. It's rare that I get to catch the meat of it. A lot of time I catch the end or in the middle of it, but I feel like tonight is a good one. Like I said, y'all were cooking tonight, and I said my dating advice would be I would say date with a purpose. Like you said, Toshiba, if you're marriage minded, me myself, being in ministry, I do counseling, marriage counseling and stuff like that. And, I kind of gauge the landscape of like watching podcasts and things are going on around, because people come to me with these questions and stuff. And as a person that has went through a divorce and now remarried, but when me and my wife got married, we was like, what, we're going to learn from our past relationships. So that means like communicating, like having those tough conversations. We do it at least twice a month. We just sit down and just talk about the tough things, like what people don't say in relationships. And you hope your partner reading your mind, or why you married, why you mad, or why you not speaking, or why you got an attitude. Like, no, we gotta talk these things out. So my like I said, my advice would be like date with a purpose, and just viewing the landscape of the dating pool, like they say, it's got pee in it. So and I have teenage kids, those in like 22-year-old daughter, and it's like, wow, it's like, this it's wild out here for the single people. And you got a lot of layers you got to peel back to even get to meet the real person. Because like one of my friends told me, he said, a lot of time when we meet, you're meeting that person's representative. We can be fooled by the social media posts. Nobody shows the bad days on social media. Everybody's at their best. And and it's a lot of hurt behind some of those smiles and the lashes and the wigs and the Jordans and stuff like that. So you just have to really ask those questions. And like I'm gonna keep saying it. If you gotta date with a purpose. So that was my little 2 cents. I enjoyed tonight. So,
well, we appreciate you coming up, giving that. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff, we truly appreciate this, and thank you for your words, and especially being in ministry and knowing that these are conversations that you have to have. And so the fact that you even came on and watch our show, thank you so much. And we are going to say good night to Jeff. I am just going to take Jeff off the screen. There are a few others that I see some dating tips. Do we want to read their dating tips first, twins, or should we start?
Yeah,
Let's read theirs
let
first.
them go first. Let them go first.
Let's read our first. Okay, so Mr. Dating tip part 1. Okay, he got part 1 and part 2. Let me get in here. Dating tip part 1. Being submissive is about having the ability to identify someone who has a history of making good decisions. Amen and hallelujah. That was on my list. And trusting them to lead because you're confident their outcomes will be favorable to you. Going back to sports and teammates, you don't tell your teammate how to shoot the ball to hit the game-winning shot. Okay, there's more. He said, he's open right now and you have 2 defenders on you with 5 seconds left on the clock. You trust his outcome, so you pass him the ball instead of risking it yourself. That is submission.
With a little sprinkle of trust.
Oh, I love that, with a little sprinkle of trust. I'm actually going to go to that one that he said about identifying someone who has a good history of making good decision, a history of making good decisions. That was on my list. When I recreated a list after taking accountability and realizing where it gone wrong, that was on my list. I said I wanted a man who would lead by example, and I would take a look at the decisions he's made in his life to identify that he's made good decisions. And I am so grateful that I have a man in my life who has shown me that every single day since we've gotten together. And it is amazing feeling, ladies, because we often said, well, a man, I'll follow when a man shows me he can lead, and I'll submit when whatever. I don't know the nonsense a lot of us women say. What is it that woman has to bring out my, so I don't even know. What is it, soft girl season, or I don't even know what the seasons we're in now. But the reality is, have you done a good enough job to just identify if that man's decision-making skills are good? The reason I will no longer date men with multiple children by multiple women is because I don't trust their decision-making. Because your past has shown me you don't make good decisions. No shade to you gentlemen who have done that. Just for me and what I'm looking for, if you've done something once, we can call it a mistake. You do it again, at this point, it's a choice. So you're now making choices that are contrary to you actually having a good life. So just a point for you ladies. Now, Royce Monroe says, seeing a fault in someone is the incapability of seeing the part you played in it. Self-inventory. Thank you. SB says, introspection is key for growth. We're just gonna let that one drop. And that's coming from a lady. Oh my gosh, got the lady with me this week. Introspection. It's the same as accountability. In order to be accountable, you have to be introspective, which means looking inside of yourself. Inside, not outside, inside. So we will now go. Thank you, everyone. Actually, thank you all for your dating tips. And Twins and I will now share our dating tip. Twins, I'll let you go first.
Based on the topic we had today about the way you dress, I'd like to talk to the ladies. You know what I'm saying? I want you to, don't be so quick to respond of why he asked you to change that outfit. You can ask him why, but put yourself in his shoes. Imagine that he was going somewhere and I was going to a pool party and he was wearing Speedos. I'm saying, do you want your man walking around with his junk out like that around other women? You may like that. You may be into other stuff, but let's focus on the main thing. Think about that. If the answer is no, then think about the same way how you look when you go out looking a certain way. So just think about it. Put yourself in his shoes.
Listen, I don't even want my men out here in gray jogging pants. Okay? Okay? We know what those gray jogging pants are. He'd be out great. No, change that. No, no, no. Like, so no, so you hit home with that one. What I would say is my dating tip is I'm actually gonna go back to my therapy moment that I had earlier. Are you with someone because they need you, or are you with the person who wants you? And have you determined the difference between someone needing and wanting you? I finally know what that feels and looks like. And so this is for my fellas, because the first clip hit home for the men, I think. Men, are you dating a woman who needs you or a woman who wants you? Especially those of you with the finances to get a woman and take care of her and her needs. Because there's a difference of how a woman shows up in your life when she needs you versus a woman that wants you. Now, do not get it twisted. It doesn't matter if we're a woman with a plan or not. We like the idea of being taken care of by our men. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, a woman who needs you is a leech. A woman who wants you is a teammate and an addition to your life. And your life looks differently depending on that woman that you get with. And then you cannot complain when she takes you for everything after, because she showed up as a woman who needed you instead of a woman who wanted you. So that would be our advice. And SB, I'm just going to end with what SB said. She said, date with a purpose, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Wow. We are changing the conversation around Black relationship, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to thank all of you who joined us, for those of you who were watching and didn't comment, and for those of you who commented. We appreciate you. We do this every week because we think this conversation is important. And we know that on a Thursday night, you could be anywhere else, but we are so very grateful that you are here with us. And I do have a question. Twins and I talked about it a few months ago. I'm bringing this back up now. I just want to know from those of you who watch, if we were to increase the frequency of the show to 2 nights a week, would you watch? And if we did increase the frequency to 2 nights a week and open up to make it more of a call-in show, would you join us? We appreciate those of you who do join us, but would you join us? Would you send people to come and have conversations with us? Because thank you, Mr. Because I have to talk to Twins more about it, but I think if we were to open it up and do it on a weekend night, and I know I know Twins is out here busy, so I have to see what the schedule is. But if we did it on a weekend night, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we would want to really be talking to all of you, having conversations and hearing your relationship questions, your relationship advice, and so forth. So again, I would love to hear from you. Mr. Misters already said he would already watch, and would you also join us on this journey to change the conversation around Black relationships? So that is all from us tonight. We appreciate you. Go off and have an amazing night. Kiss your loved ones, hug your loved ones. You never know when will be the last time you get to do that. So good night. Peace out. See you next week. Bye.